All right, so I'm waiting to leave the house where I'm dog sitting. It's a long story, which is why I'm all decked out because I should be going pretty soon. But my last video where I talked about crazy kid school and all that shit, I mentioned a case that I wasn't involved in it, but my psychiatrist at that time got into a lot of deep shit. And I've never told this story always because I've partially been kind of afraid of what I could say and not say legally, but it's been in the newspapers. It's a legally settled, I think, case. I don't know the exact amount, or the bitch should have been fired. I hope she was, but I don't know. I'm not going to use her name, but I am going to link the article of who I'm talking about in the description of this video. So yeah, this is a story I've never told to a lot of people, but here we go. So like I said before, I was in a lot of trouble, in and out of schools, and basically I got into a situation where I was so misbehaved that my poor mother, she'd been hit by a drunk driver and all this stuff, and from that she got like a stroke at like 43, all this horrible stuff. She got the flesh-eating virus. She had a bunch of shit, but she still persevered, but she was in the hospital a lot. My dad was working full-time. So deal with two little maniacs, me and my brother. My brother could stay with my grandmother. I could not because I just caused too much trouble. And that's a whole different story, but I just did. So the doctor I was seeing at the time, who I'll call Dr. Satan Lover. Dr. Satan Lover, she started out cool. I remember I saw her because I have Tourette syndrome. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I've said it before. And no, it's not. That's not right. I swear. That's coprolalia. That's like a small percentage of Tourette. Don't look for my tics. I have a mild case. But she was that one who helped diagnose it. And so I kind of always had thought I'd seen other people before that, but I thought she was okay. She put like my picture up in her office with some other kids that she saw. She kind of lulled you into this like false sense of like she really gave a shit about you. My suspicious ass, I mean, I kind of always was like, I don't know, bitch. But then she showed her true colors. So in 1988, she was the first time she told my mom, well, he's got to be, put in the psych ward so we can test medicines on him to find out which is the right dosage for his Tourette. Basically, bullshit lie. She wanted to get me in there to be one of her little guinea pigs. In my opinion, I have no proof. Allegedly. So I remember my mom was like, okay, because my mom was really bad at that time. My dad, like I said, was working. No one could really take care of me, and I needed to be taken care of. Listen, when there are fires set in a neighborhood and people know it's you, even though you didn't technically do it, you had somebody else do it, you're a problem. You're a big problem, and you need help. So I went. I remember it was February 24th of 1988. I went in. I was so, and this is like a psych ward, a kid's psych ward at a hospital where they take your shoes, they take your shoelaces. Who can hang themselves with a shoelace? Like, seriously, what kind of Ethiopian deranged kid did they have there once? Like, fuck it. He might be like, and hang himself with the fucking shoelace. So, no earrings or anything like that if you're a girl. Like I always said, they put you in one room when you get there by yourself because they're trying to figure out what you're about. Are you a shit thrower? Are you a talker to yourselfer? Do you rock back and forth, just not say anything and fart? Are you going to try to escape? Are you going to try to assault staff? Are you going to try to assault somebody else? There's so many stories about that place I could go into another time, but let's get to the main story because I'm going to get distracted. Now, when I got there, I'm in my one room, the initial room they used to figure you out. After that, you can say goodbye to your single room. You ain't going to have a single room after that until you fucking leave. Then you're moving in with at least two other maniacs. If you're a boy, two other boys. A girl, two other girls. Or 9 times out of 10, there were more boys there, it seemed like. So girls sometimes lucked out and got their own room because they're a girl, they had to have their own room. They were just boys and shit like that. Or they didn't really have to share. But I always ended up with two more boys from there on out. When I went in, 1988, February, I looked all the way at the end, and there was this room that looked super lived in, and there were two brothers there. I guess I could say their last names, but I'm still not comfortable with it, so look at the article. I'm going to call them the Smith brothers. And I didn't know they were brothers at first, but, it looked like, I can't explain it, like most people, because you moved from room to room a lot. You moved from room to room if you fought one of your roommates, if you did something stupid, or just because they had more people coming in. It was kind of like musical chairs with rooms. They never moved. They never moved their room. And their room was there were a lot of posters and everything that made it look like they weren't planning on it anytime soon. And I never really put it together. And these two kids, out of all the kids were there, were the sweetest, nicest kids. The one kid was probably, the younger brother, I'm going to say was 5 or 6. So I'm already like, what's he fucking doing here? What did he do? Knock somebody's hands over in kindergarten? Some shit like that? Did he like, I don't know, did he not did he curse out Sesame Street on the TV and his parents think he's full of shit? So I didn't get it. His brother was still younger than me. I was 12, so I'd say his brother was about 9 or 10. Nice kid, please, thank you type of kids, rosy cheeked, bowl haircuts. It was the 80s, what do you want? And they weren't that cool. And so like, I remember just like, I never hung out with them or talked to them, but they were younger than me. And they were no fun because they didn't cause trouble. I like the troublemaking kids. I like the nympho girl from Highland Park who tried to kill herself. All the suburban girls who tried to kill themselves or had eating disorders. These two girls, they were the hottest sisters on the planet. Fucking smoking hot. One of them had a crush on me. I couldn't fucking believe it. This girl was banging like I said, lots of stories there. But of course, every suburban chick, there was lots of suburban girls. Every girl there was like from Highland Park, Skokie or something. And they were upset because, I'm counting my calories. And like, I cut myself this one time right here. It was always never like serious. They never had big gashes. It's like, I'm not depressed. Bitch, shut the fuck up. You're pretty. You're from wealthy areas. Shut the hell up. So I just hung out with the ne'er-do-well kids. I hung out with like the angry black girls who were getting out in 2 weeks anyway because that was the other thing that was funny to me. There were kids that would get out. They'd act the ass. I would have to act right. And I was able to stay there pretty much forever. I'm like, how are you? I mean, this bitch made no progress. Why is Letitia over here going home? She just fucking decked the staff member yesterday. She's got Medicaid. Oh, I hope I have Medicaid. No, you don't have Medicaid. You got a subsidy. You're going to be here for a long time. I'm going home tomorrow. Fuck all y'all. Fuck that bitch over there. Fuck that bitch over there. You can kiss my black ass. You too, bitch. When I become 13 or older, maybe even 15, I'm going to get here on my own, wait for you outside and cut you up. Bitch, that's what's going to happen for that nurse over there. She thinks she's special. Bitch, I'm getting out tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And none of them gave a fuck, and I loved it. And a couple other kids who were like crazy ne'er-do-wells, mostly boys. A few girls thrown in I would hang out with. So now my doctor, that's when I started to notice odd things. She kept seeming to try to get me to say something that I didn't have in me. Like she gave me these tests, and I get they have to give everybody there when they first get there, like, like a Rosarge test, like what do you do? And I even at 12, trust me, I had this kind of sense of humor. Like this woman, I remember she's like, the first test they give you is a bunch of pictures, and you're supposed to say a story behind the picture. And I'll never forget this one picture was a woman on a hill, kind of long dress, reaching up, and there's a cottage way up there. I don't know what the right answer to that stupid ass question is, but the girl giving me the test, the assessment, is like, so what do you see here? What do you think this is? And I remember what I said. I'm like, she really, really has to take a shit, and she couldn't make it, so she kind of diarrheaed on herself already. I swear I said that. And so now she's kind of just scooting up there, and she's like, hold the door open. I swear to God, it was not verbatim, but that's the crux of what I said. And this woman was just done with me by 30 minutes. I was not, are we going to take this test seriously? No. I don't want to be here, fucking bitch. No, I'm not taking it seriously at all. They give you blocks to move around. Then it's your intellect. So they're like, oh, we're going to give you like 80 blocks. Match them all up and make this really big thing of the United States of America plus every continent and on the planet. And do that in like 2 minutes or else you're retarded. It was shit like that. I'm like, so I did all that shit. And she just seemed dissatisfied with my results or whatever. Now, this goes on 2-3 months, and there's a lot of incidents, and Jay is not making progress because Jay has a problem with following rules. Jay just doesn't like being told what to do, and you get in trouble for anything there. Swearing at staff, hitting staff, spitting on staff, spitting on other children. I mean, who fucking knew it? That's like playful where I come from. Tripping people, physically abusing and emotionally abusing other people around you, manipulating others to do what you want to do. It's a bunch of dumb shit. Throwing up gang signs on a quote-unquote field trip, which is on the short bus, like around the block, but we could have gotten shot because they like pulled up right beside us and they thought you were in a gang. You're on room restriction for 48 hours. Shit like that. So I didn't get what's going on, so whatever. Finally, I got it out of there somehow. Like I said, a lot more stories. Maybe I'll go into it in my other channel sometime, but just let me know if you care. Now, when I left, August 88, those brothers were still there, right? I come back because guess who couldn't keep his shit together? Take a wild guess. Guess who was just fucking it up? Who couldn't? I graduated, this is not bullshit. I graduated 8th grade because my principal didn't want me there anymore. He's like, get him the fuck out of here. He's got like, I had like straight Fs. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't give a shit about anything. My mom was in the hospital again. My dad was working full time, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, I don't care. He's like, yay for you, retard. You can get the fuck out. So this didn't sit well with my shrink, who was like, just took this as defiance, and again used the opportunity that my mom was away, my dad couldn't keep up with me, to have me back in there. And then 1990 June, right after I graduated 8th grade, I remember the girl that was doing the intake again. She's like, you again? Oh, so what are you going to do with the rest of your summer? Because I came in there like June 8th or something like that. I'm like, I'm going to be here. Oh, I'm sure you won't be here forever. I don't have the fun Medicaid. I will be here until that bitch lets me go. All right? I don't know what the fuck. I said in the last video, they had to find like a special school for crazy kids. I had to agree to one before they let me go. I didn't get out till October that year. Now, when I get in there, same thing, go to the room, single room again, give me shoes, okay, let's pat you down. Let the one male staffer who looks at you too long pat you down a little too long, and you want to at least jerk me off. At least get me off. I mean, can I get something out of this fucking horrible ordeal? New crew of kids, I got to learn, figure out who's really crazy, who's not too crazy, who I can get to hit other people, who I can't. So, like, trying to figure everything out. And I look to the room all the way at the end, and those same two brothers are there. This is 2.5 years later. And I remember, like, my whole body almost shut down, because I'm like, if they're there, they've been there for, at that point, and they've been there before I got there in 88. So they've probably been there 3 or 4 years at that point. 4 or 3 years. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So finally, one of the other kids breaks it down to me, who had talked to them and said they've been here like for 4 years, and their parents are upstairs in the their mother, I'm sorry, not their father, was in the upstairs adult ward. I'm like, what the fuck for? Apparently, my psychiatrist, Dr. Satan Lover, and her mentor were really into false repressed memory therapy. And they had this mother had come to them maybe with postpartum or something like that, their mother. And they had basically convinced her that she was in a satanic cult. That was a problem. It was the root of all her problems. And she had indulged in knifing babies and eating babies in the woods. Who doesn't? I'm kidding. Seriously. Had told them that. What's worse, so they dope her up full of so much medicine. The main Dr. Satan Lover's teacher, keeps her in check, okay? He's like, keeps the girl in check. And then all of a sudden, guess what? She has memories that she involved her kids, the 2 boys, in the satanic rituals and killings and murders in the woods when they were standing naked, eating babies, slicing babies, shooting at things and shit like that. All of that completely, allegedly true. Read the article. All right. So I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? And it just shook me. And that's when I started to notice, my psychiatrist at this point didn't like me. She did not like me at all. And she kept there was one place you could go aside from like a psycho school. You were not going to regular school when you got out of there. You had to go to a psycho school first so you could be approved well enough to go back to public school. Or you could go to what they call residential. Do you know what residential is? It's long-term, that fucking place till you're 18. I'm 14. I'm scared shitless. I know this bitch wants me at the other place till I'm 18, which could even be in another state. You don't even know where you're going to go. You just get shipped. That's what the fuck happens. Thankfully, my parents didn't hate me that much. And my mother, even though she was in a weakened state and all that, kept saying like, no, I'm not putting him. I mean, maybe I should. We could get a lot done. He's kind of a nightmare. No, okay, fine. Never signed that adoption paper. We'll get a check for him maybe. No, but she really was like, she'd always assured me, because obviously when you're adopted, you have abandonment issues and stuff. I was hostile towards them when they would visit and shit like that. I didn't want to talk to them. I was like, this is just fucked up. You guys are going to leave me here. I know what's going to happen. They're like, we'll never leave you here. We will never, ever leave you here. My dad's like, can we please leave him here? He's a fucking crazy. Look around you. Everybody's going, sitting there. Here, we have a chance to get away. Please, lady, please. I love you, honey, but here, fuck him. We have another one at home. He's not bad. It's him that makes him bad. So... but my mom was actually kind of fighting with her on the phone, like, no, because she could only talk to her by phone. She was in the hospital. She said, he's coming home. This was the plan all along. What are you doing? What the fuck is going on here? So eventually, begrudgingly, she lets me out, blah, blah, blah. I get the psycho school and a whole other host of problems come along. And then I'm 20 or 21 and I'm reading the newspaper. Yeah, I read the newspaper. Fuck you guys. Okay. I just wasn't just stabbing things every 5 seconds. That's always a nighttime activity. I'm reading the newspaper and I see the brothers from that room, I'm sorry. And the whole story is in there. And my shrink's involvement is in there. My shrink had her job, apparently, allegedly. I don't know it's for sure. Go read the article. Go look. In my ignorant opinion, was to make them say that they were actually doing the things that the Thorazine and psychiatric drugs thing that they had doped the mom up with, because they were just making her say whatever. They were bringing her on like talk shows and shit. That was their project. And to do that to 2 fucking kids was just insane. She brought, allegedly, my shrink, a gun. Let me say it one more time. A gun into the room and would do shit like this, allegedly, put it on the table and ask these little boys who couldn't, even a couple of years later, right? So one's 8 now, one's like 12. Do you remember what you did with this gun? No? Don't you remember? Well, your mom seems to remember that you were pointing it at the baby wearing the dark hood. Shit like that. She was trying with this guy, in my opinion, allegedly, from what I've read, just alleged, everything's alleged. Allegedly, she was trying, in my opinion, to get these kids on the same crazy train that the mom was because of the bed she was on, and they're keeping her up there. They kept the mom up there just as fucking long. Finally, somehow this family broke out of it. They sued the fuck out of them, and they won millions. The brothers won millions. The wife won millions. The brothers deserved it more than anybody. I'm not saying the wife didn't deserve, the mom didn't deserve it. She did. But for that bitch stole their fucking childhood. And that's just the shit I know about. That's just the shit that I remember reading on the court thing. Bring a gun in there, trying to convince them they fucking killed babies and done shit like that. That's what we know. These kids, you have to understand, when you're there, you go into session at least twice a week while you're locked up. Twice a week. Your shrink comes to see you, make notes. Those kids were going, in my opinion, from what I can kind of sort of recall allegedly, a lot more, it seemed to me, in my ignorant opinion, than other kids were. It seemed there was always her bringing them into a room, another person, a guy, bringing them into a room. And just like, I don't know how these men, I'm sorry now, are not fucked up beyond belief. I have no clue. But to think I was in the hands of that, oh, did I give my parents shit? Oh, see, but that was the only good thing that came out of it. It was like, yeah, okay. I did school. It's not like that time you had me with that psychiatrist who was convincing people of satanic false memories and bringing guns in for little kids. Yeah, it's not like that, right? No, just don't do school again. Why did we bring him back? I don't care. Yes, he was worshiping Satan last night. He killed the kitty cat. He did. He ate it. I saw the whole fucking thing. And he said, oh, hey, the devil, Beelzebub is my friend. Can we take him now? No, my dad was cool. But yeah. So that's just how my journey into that shit started. Was that's how horrifying it was to me. Well, my journey was over pretty much at that point. But it was to read a few years later that these kids have been there forever. To a kid, a year's forever, a couple months is forever. They'd gotten so much stolen from them. I was so happy. But here's what I think I know. I don't think she got disbarred. Because when I just Googled her name, and you can look at it in the article, she seems to be accepting new fucking patients. How in the fuck, bitch, are you accepting new fucking patients? And if you ever do see this video, right here, up your ass, fucking dirty, disgusting, and you are so gonna burn to hell. So gonna burn to hell. You and that other motherfucker, you must have been sucking him. She was sucking his dick. That bitch was I was wondering how she was getting her fucking jollies off. She was riding dick oh yeah, oh teacher, oh doctor, fuck me. Oh yeah. Tomorrow let's talk more about how the babies are in pieces when they eat them. Yeah, okay. Keep that troublemaker downstairs out of every way, too. He's getting no problems all the time, spitting on other kids. Fuck him. Oh, twist my nippies again. Fuck both of you, all right? So that's the story. Somebody asked me to tell it finally. I did. I will leave the article below. Have fun reading it. I hope I read wrong and she has been stripped of her credentials. But from what I just read, it says that she's accepting new patients on one of these little Google things. So I hope to God not. And if you know anybody who's looking for a child psychiatrist, please spread this along. And so they don't take their kids, if she is still practicing, to this crazy bitch. All right? Oh.